This is like dropping your kid in the swimming pool and saying, explore how to swim.
There you go.
Just figure it out. You'll figure it out. It'll be great.
He'll figure it out.
I'm rewinding a little bit because I want to hear that. Here's the response.
Gender?
Yes.
That's a great question. Sparrow is in a point of learning and exploration with a lot of things, including gender. Language with children at 4 is very, they're figuring it out. And so currently, Sparrow uses he for everyone. No, it doesn't matter what their pronouns are.
So basically, the kid is misgendering everyone right and left. So obviously, you haven't taught him that is offensive to some people, right? Especially trans people who hate to be misgendered. It's a threat on their actual safety. But your kid is cool doing that. I get it.
Let them explore, okay? God.
Yeah. Why can't we just explore? Why can't we label everyone he, him?
I identify as a 3-year-old perpetually exploring, okay?
Oh, that's terrible.
Don't mind me wandering into the woman's locker room. I'm a 3-year-old child just exploring.
I know. Okay, Jessica, Yaniv.
They just call everyone he, they don't conjugate it correctly. They don't use him or his or anything, just he for everything. So we joke that he is Sparrow's preferred pronoun because it's.
Look at these parents here. On stage are the parents who were talking about pulling their kids out of school. And the one woman has the biggest scowl on her face.
Well, this is so dumb. It's like, well, my child, they call everyone he. So they're not doing that because they're a 4-year-old child that doesn't really understand gender. It's because, that's them trying to tell us that they're truly male.
Well, this is where the conflict arises. And it's interesting because in society, society really is, you're always going to have conflict between people. And how you structure society to deal with that conflict is really what, weighs the better societies from the worst societies, right? She's in a situation right now where we've developed this institution called public school that's super convenient for parents. You drop your kid in public school and they're going to learn reading, writing, and math, right? And they're going to be somewhat socialized with other people. And then you get activists like Arlo here, who is like, no, I'm going to use the public schools to teach everyone that gender is a social construct and that assigning people a gender at birth based on their genitalia is actually bigotry and evil, right? And they want to come into that institution and restructure it to basically suit their own religious purposes.
Right.
And this person is saying, listen, I fucking work for a living, okay? I don't have time for you forcing your religion into my life through the public schools. And it creates all this conflict.
Well, and that's what's so offensive about this is that, the left has been the champion of secular schooling for a long time.
Oh, I know.
I was
irony, fucking
irony. And it was all like, oh, if you want to go to religious school, go to religious school, pay for it yourself. It's not going to be on the public dime.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's fine. And now it's like, as you just said, now it's like, oh, well, we want to shove our religion into the public school.
Yeah.
It's
sick. Not only that, the religious schools now are filling up with atheist kids. All the parents are like, I'm atheist, but the fucking shit that's going on in the public school is worse than this. If I have to, if I'm forced a religion on me, I'm going with Jesus here. Catholic, you're wearing a Catholic uniform, right?
Right. Yeah.
At least I know you're not going to be questioning your gender by the time you're 8.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's what they use for everyone. As far as for themselves, though, they're not coming consistently saying, I would like, I want to be a boy or a girl, or I feel like I'm non-binary. We don't have heavy, in-depth, overt communications. It's not like every morning I wake them up and say, all right, what's your gender today? Hoping they'll finally give me an answer. So it doesn't come up like that.
Okay.
What I would give for the 2-week study, just the hidden cameras in the home type thing.
Mm-hmm. See what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see if it's really, it's probably a bunch of nonsense, to be honest with you.
It's probably a little boy who does a bunch of very stereotypical little boy shit. And, but no, we're supposed to pretend like, oh, there's no biology here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The hidden camera would expose dolls, shit, fuck, get away from me. Throwing dolls away. Mom, why are you doing this shit? Where are the trucks?
Right, right.
He's like the most patriarchal kid you could ever imagine.
I don't want to play with dolls. Dolls are for girls. What did you just say? I mean, dolls are not my preferred toy at this moment in time space. According to my perceived gender at the moment.
Oh,
That's
so...
better.
I know. You know, he's got friends at school that are like,
Well, he's
yeah,
4, so
good
I don't. I mean,
dolls.
it's like a preschool.
Oh, I guess not. Yeah, you're right. They don't begin.
That's when I was dressing up as Zorro going to preschool. Okay.
4 preschool.
Yeah.
It's probably a full non-binary preschool. Everyone in there is non-binary.
You decided this was important to leave unspecified, undetermined. Why?
Because of the fact that gender is so social and it is such a social construct. Now, we say we shouldn't interact with one another differently because of our genders. Like, everyone deserves the same respect and treatment. But it has been scientifically proven that children are interacted with very differently based on whether they are assumed to be a boy or a girl. You know, girl children are held more, boy children are given, you know, mechanical toys more often, all of these.
Addison is nodding like crazy. I was never held. She's very correct.
There you go.
No one ever held me.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that's true to some degree. Sure. Obviously, there's going to be a difference.
Yeah.
Kind of examples, anecdotes. And I felt it was important for Sparrow to get the chance to figure themselves out without all of that pressure, intervention, and programming.
It seems like
It's literally the opposite, though, because, like, I know, this is my personal experience. When I was growing up, I didn't have any pressure about trying to figure out whether I was a boy or I was a girl.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, I do feel it's the opposite.
Yeah, there was no pressure for me. It was very obvious. I was like, "Oh, I'm a boy. This is a girl." I understood the concept
The decision
intuitively.
was made. Yeah.
Yes, decision was made. I understood it. I had no problem with it. I understand it's not everyone's experience, but fine. So, but to say like, "Oh, I'm not going to gender my child. I'm going to name them fucking Sparrow. I'm not going to say whether they're a boy or girl or not." You're adding way more pressure. Your kid's gonna, if your kid goes to public school, they're going to be super confused the first day of class.
Yes, they're going to be super confused. They're going to be ostracized.
Right.
None of the preparation for the environment you're going to drop them in is going to be there. This bugs me a lot. Maybe it bugs you too. The whole idea that because something is a social construct, that means it's arbitrary or immaterial. Because
arbitrary, immaterial, and worthy of getting rid of.
Listen, money is a social construct. Are you telling me you're not going to teach your kid about money? Like, it's the same exact problem, right? Like, you show up at the Burger King and you're like, what? Like, I want French fries, but like, yes, there are a lot of things that are social constructs that we have, we've constructed institutions to deal with, interacting with other people in a way that, you know, creates an environment where people know what to expect. You're completely throwing that out the window. It's like you wouldn't tell a child you're going to have to determine your own exchange of value system. It's like, what? And I feel like they're doing kind of the same thing with gender. Like 90% of the people, by the time they're 4 years old and dropped into school, are going to be oriented in a certain direction. And this person is just put at a complete disadvantage.
True.
Yeah.
We should just keep the dialogue going and hopefully find some middle ground.
I have a question. Arlo, you mentioned that you don't have your child discussing pronouns or figuring out their pronouns yet. And yet in school, our kids are being asked what their pronoun is. I'm confused about how that works. And then there's always this fluidity right around what pronoun you are each day. So it's constantly changing. How confusing.
I think
for
what it
kids.
is. Oh, sorry. I think what it is that I sympathize with the hurt and distress that I.
Finally, Arlo uses they, them pronouns.
They, them.
We finally know. Okay, good.
I wonder if Arlo was their birth name. Or I'm sorry,
Arlo.
their slave name. or whether that's a
You're so
chosen
bad.
name.
You're so bad.
I know.
Yeah. You know this person has an excellent relationship with their parents. Come on. Come on.
Do
now.
I know that, Adam? Do I?
It's
I don't. What's up with this Dr. Phil thing? It's like the James Lindsay thing. Like, let's have like a bunch of guests on stage, and then we're gonna put a guest like 20 feet away in the audience that like has to shout at them. Like
Social distancing.
it's so strange. Well, this is such a weird setup. Like, why isn't everyone just on stage? I don't understand.
They don't want the non-binary ideology to infect the rest of the panel.
I don't know. I don't know why they're doing this.
This is this is the heckler from the crowd. See?
Yeah, well, like that's what it makes it feels like. It makes it feel like a crazy person just like wandered in off the street and sat down in the front of the audience and is shouting at them, and they're just panning to them occasionally.
I like it. I think it's very David Lynch.
I think it's a terrible decision.
Yeah. She should be smoking a big cigar though.
There you go.
That would be better.
Sense from you all. I also wouldn't want my child to learn things from their teachers at school that were topics I was uncomfortable with or I didn't know how I'd want to talk about them. Your children are going to need to know how to navigate a world in which non-binary and transgender people exist.
This is a great conversation to have at home, out of the school. This should not be.
Yeah, but so your kids are going to have to navigate a world with a lot of like complicated moral questions. That doesn't mean you teach those complicated moral questions to them when they're 5.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
And it doesn't mean that you teach these complicated moral questions to them when they're in public school either, necessarily. So that's not really a good answer. It's kind of a big non-answer.
They want to force these complicated moral questions into school, though. They really do.
But they don't. No, they don't. They want to force their complicated moral answers into school.
Look, Sparrow is literally non-binary. She's dropping Sparrow off at 5. You know, he's going to be like the activist in the school. That's the plan. That is the plan. Do you disagree that is like exactly what's going on? These people have
that's the hope.
An agenda.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah. And this guy's got his kid there. He's in the fight. His kids, they're having conversations at the dinner table about this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Curriculum.
We're out of time, but I thank everyone for your thoughts and ideas and for remaining civil about the conversation.
The dispute over gender pronouns.
I don't identify exclusively with being
I love the fact that
stop
he's
pausing
like,
it there.
a man or a woman.
Okay.
No, I love the fact. Oh, you don't want to see that? I love the fact that Dr. Phil says, thank you so much for keeping this civil. And then immediately goes into like the high energy, high conflict, a disagreement over gender pronouns.
This time on Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
3 people almost died in the battle of ideas over gender pronouns. Tune in and watch.
Let's watch the rest of this here. I won't pause again.
For your thoughts and
Listen to
ideas
that
and for
music,
remaining
too.
civil about the conversation.
The dispute over gender pronouns.
I don't identify exclusively with being a man or a woman.
I use they and them as my pronouns.
Did you hear that horror movie like wee?
I know. It's great.
Their own pronouns?
You think it's a delusion.
In school, our kids are being asked what their pronoun is.
This is a war on gender.
New Dr. Phil.
Check local listings.
Thank you. If that really helps me find this, check my local listings. Go fuck yourself.
Come on.
Listen, I wanted to watch the whole episode, but couldn't find it, guys. It's unfortunate.